everyone. It's noon here in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm excited to be hosting our second edition of our webinar series. Previously, we did one with Greg Crabtree all about how to handle inflation. We do have access to it. If you want to, just send it a chat that you'd like to have access to that. It's also available online. And in the future, we're going to have one with Byron McFarland about lining comp with executive comp with the outcomes of the business. So you can stay very much aligned. So that'll be coming up in September. Today, I'm excited to share a project I've been working with Sridhar from eBiz Solutions on just the power of a software most people already have, which is the Microsoft 365 software platform. So I've been working with Sridhar at about 11 business here in Omaha. He's going to give you a quick background of himself, and then we're going to get started and we'll go over the agenda. Feel free to use the chat. You can chat a host and panelist if there's any questions. Also love if you want to use an emoji for a thumbs up or a smiley face. If you think one of the things that we show today is something you could use in your business, we're always trying to improve ourselves, improve what we offer for value to our clients and everyone else that we deal with in the small and medium-sized business world. So if it sounds something that's positive, throw a little thumbs up in the chat. I'd appreciate it to make a difference. So Sridhar, why don't you give a quick introduction of yourself and we will get started.
Sure. Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. My name is Sridhar. I'm the CEO of eBiz Solutions. We are a process automation and integrator, and we've been in business for the last 17 years. And we extensively use Microsoft to help businesses create productivity and efficiency through automations and through integrations of the apps that are available in Microsoft platform.
Excellent. So we're going to break this up into a few different sections today. So we're going to do just some apps you should be aware of and probably get to know. The reason I ended up with talking with Sridhar is I was paying for the Microsoft 365 suites. I'm heavily involved in the entrepreneurs organization. And we watched all these apps start showing up around the basic ones, which is, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Also, there was all these other apps that we're paying for. We're just not taking full advantage of. And Sridhar has helped me do that. So we're going to go through some apps first with some real world stories of how they're used. Then we're going to do automations, which is the next thing. It's low code, no code, which is we don't have to deal with custom solutions anymore. You don't have to do large software solutions and projects. You can do some really nice stuff with low code, no code. Then again, we'll take questions and answers when it makes sense. If you guys have some, and put them in chat. We'll then do tips and tricks, things you should just turn on today, things you should be using right now in Microsoft 365. And then since Sridhar is a Microsoft partner, he gets to see what's coming soon. So we'll share some stuff that is coming soon. So let's get into it. So apps you should know more about today. So this one is a relatively new app. It's the Updates app. I've already talked to some of our clients. They're going to start using it right away. Some of our clients are using it for kind of like a daily huddle. It'll just send out at a certain time of day, a daily update or a weekly update. What are you working on? What are you trying to accomplish today? What did you accomplish yesterday? Kind of keeps the company aligned. There's also incident updates. There's safety updates. If you want to make sure at the end of every day you're shutting down all the machines properly, or at the beginning of the day, you can actually use this update app. Super simple, no code. Sridhar can make it low code if you want to make some other automations on it, but a very cool app. It just pins to the left side of your Microsoft Teams. Approvals, another simple app in the system, is exactly what it says. If you want to do PTO approvals, and Sridhar will tell you a real world story about that, or you want to have a business travel approval or a discount approval, again, a very simple one. Sometimes in small business, when I'm coaching them, people kind of forgot that they approved a discount or a day off or something like that. This is a way to use that. Again, Sridhar at the end of this app section will explain a more robust PTO one that was requested of him. Microsoft lists for onboarding. We all are hiring people. They're hard to hire, and the key first 90 days is key. You have some certain things that they want to do as a strategy coach. We want to make sure they understand their core values. They want to understand their metrics. They want to understand how the company works, along with all your just standard paperwork. So you can do onboarding for your employees to make sure they're all onboarded consistently over that first 30 to 90 days, depending on what you want. Again, Sridhar's going to tell a more robust story than that. But also think about this as client onboarding, or even like for property management firms, we get the onboarding of like an apartment for a new tenant that's moving in, and you want to go through the approach. So every new tenant is onboarded and told exactly how like the deposit works and so on, and they can actually check it off. So lots of reasons to use the lists onboarding. Since I'm a strategy planning coach, one thing that's happened, especially when people scale down, is to engage with Microsoft Teams and using it for your strategy planning. So if you have your quarterly meetings, your annual meetings, your weekly meetings, all the way down through the business, you can use these for strategy planning. This is kind of how we recommend sending up your team. I work closely with Rob Simons of COACH.WIN. We're a joint venture on helping leading coaches elevate. This allows you to have everything in one place where people can go look at their scorecards and look at their rocks or their priorities, whatever you're using for your strategy planning tool. So using Teams for strategy planning works out pretty slick. Microsoft planners come a long ways. One thing that when Sridhar gets involved with clients is we go look at all the different tools, and it's really common for us to run into. Some people are using Monday.com, some people are using Trello cards, some people are using Planner inside the same company, which just creates confusion. So the Microsoft Planner will keep everyone organized. Again, like for strategy planning, we do this for priorities and weekly goals of what's happening. But any types of project management, planners come a long ways. A lot of people had some negative thoughts of it maybe 3 to 5 years ago. It's really, really improved. So pay attention to Planner and go take a tour of it. Microsoft, by the way, on all of these has very simple videos on, what and how they are and why and when you should use them. So go through and talk about the Microsoft Planner. Issues tracker, very simple Microsoft list, again, a very powerful tool people are not taking advantage of as much as they should. The issue planner, our issue tracker, is exactly what it sounds like. If you're doing weekly issues that you want to talk about in your weekly meeting, or if you want to have customer service issues, or you want to have a ticketing system, you can use the simple embedded Microsoft list issue tracker to take care of those things, do them critical and so on that. And Sridhar, could you tell a little bit of like, if you make it like mark it as critical or important, how you could create a low code automation to create alerts?
Yeah, sure. So here is the list. How it really helps people is it's not just creating just like an Excel, but you can actually automate it with, like, if you change a status and if it gets to critical, you can also set up where it sends an email to a certain person that you want them to send. And if it changes to a different setting, it could send another notification. So we have in our company where, like, if a project is going out of track and the status is changed, I automatically get an email. So it helps. And there are several other small automations that you can do with no code. You don't have to code. All you have to do is like just go into the system and tell what it needs to do and put the email address or phone number or anything, and it automatically does all of those.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a nice thing about this low code, no code, as people are getting aware of it. Some of these are no code, literally, it's already got it in the template where you can just choose. Some might take 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours of coding, but end up saving every employee 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. So it's important to understand what that low code is all about. The to-do app is also a very simple app. It's come a long ways. You can have group to-dos. You can have things when something is assigned in Microsoft Team automatically create a to-do that multiple team members could use. And that way, as soon as it's done, everyone will know that it was checked off. So as a strategy coach, I want to make sure that there's only one owner, but in this situation for simple customer service, it could go into a group. Let's say you have a client team, they mention some issue, it'll create a to-do for everyone. Somebody can go in and clear that out. And because somebody might be in a meeting and not cleared out as fast for a customer. So using the to-do app is powerful.
I think we can add one more. So the access to do is also from your Outlook, right? You can highlight a thing that you want to put in to-dos and it automatically pops up to-dos. You just add it to do and it shows up in your to-do list. So the accessibility to do is very, very easy from Outlook or from any of the Office 365 apps.
Right. It's available on your phone, obviously, as well, as a to-do app. OneNote, this is replacing the notepad. I've started to actually take all my notes at meetings in OneNote. What's beautiful about it is it's truly available everywhere. You can use it on your phone and type notes. You can use it on your laptop or your iPad to take notes. It's also a lot more robust than you think for sharing and collaborating. Maybe Sridhar, you can throw a little about how you guys use OneNote in your company.
Yeah, I mean, like OneNote is our primary way of managing any project, the meeting notes, right? So the requirements, everything, anything to do with a project is every information is in OneNote, and each of those would be in the particular project teams. And we capture and we tag and we write everything, and we can tag people around it. We can collaborate on it. We can do a lot more stuff, and so that's our primary way we communicate within a project within our company.
Excellent. OneDrive, very simple. I just find that we move people into it. Again, it's available everywhere. Often companies are paying for either Box or Dropbox or both. You're already paying for OneDrive. This is your own personal drive, but you're capable of sharing. You can share for a period of time a file. But everything's accessible OneDrive. It's got a lot more features and benefits on it that you're probably not aware of. You should watch one of the Microsoft videos on the potentials of OneDrive. I learned a lot when I did it. Microsoft Forms is a survey tool. Some people think of this as only a rarely ever survey, but what we're finding is people are starting to use this in a much more robust way. So we could use it at the end of every signature or customer service or every digital invoice for a quick net promoter score survey. Click here to put, how did we do on this job? What was one thing we could do to improve? Obviously, employee engagement surveys, client engagement surveys, you can do with your team too. So super simple to set up, super simple to embed in different formats of what you want to do. You can even have it on your website. And then you can trigger, and we'll talk more about that in the automations. You can trigger action steps from people filling out surveys using the Microsoft Forms tool. And the example of that updates tool is actually used as a Microsoft Forms tool behind the scenes to capture different notes that you want to do, like in a daily update or a safety update. You can use a Microsoft Form. So
and I think,
tool.
Yeah, one more thing to be added is during the meetings, either in chat or in the meetings, you can actually launch the form and survey while in the meeting. If you're like 10 or 15 people in a meeting and suddenly you want to understand if everybody understood what you're saying, or you want to make a decision on a certain thing, you can quickly launch this directly from the chat area of your meeting, and you can use that as a quick survey.
Excellent. Microsoft Inspections. This is a Power App that's already built into your system that you can just download. You can actually set up inspections. So from the very simple, like for example, I have the suite I share here in my building in Omaha. We have 3 conference rooms, and I have clients coming in, and I want to make sure I look good in front of clients. So I want the front desk person to do a inspection every morning of the 3 conference rooms. Is there stuff written on whiteboards from another suite member that needs to get erased, but you need to save it and then send it to that other suite member? Is the refrigerator full? Is the coffee stocked? Are the chairs and tables back the way they should be? That's a super simple inspection. Other clients are using it more robustly for inspect the trucks on the way out of the door in the morning and inspect the trucks on the way back in the morning, so that the inspection's happening, or safety inspections, as we talked about. So anything you want to expect. Retailers or apartment property managers, often the idea of inspecting the work before, when somebody's coming in a property management, this is, we're going to take photos of every parts of the apartment. This is what it looks like. So when they move out a year to 5 years later, this is what we gave you. This is what it looks like at the end. There's an inspection. Every time a maintenance person goes in, inspection. Lots of possible ways of using the inspection app. Whiteboards come a long ways. I just want to put that out there. There's some Miro's a great app. A lot of people use Miro. Microsoft is coming along. By the way, this is Microsoft's strategy. They find good things and then they just slowly improve them until they're as good as the best of breed. A story I like to share is, because of best of breed, because of our cell phones, people have just started downloading apps. A lot of times the IT departments or the accounting departments don't even know what everyone's using. I think our record right now for a 30-person company is there was 21 total softwares being used, app softwares throughout the whole company. Impossible to train new employees. if somebody's gonna have to use 9, 10, 11, 12 different softwares from Slack to Dropbox to, QuickBooks to some Microsoft to the industry specific ones, and then a Miro for whiteboard, it's just a lot to learn. And this really helps by just having everything in Microsoft kind of work similarly. So you can start reducing those softwares that you have in your company. Microsoft Stream is their video recording solution. You can record onboarding, core value stories, other fun best practices. You can record events to create culture. One of the ones I love to use this for, and I'll show it a little bit in the automation, is a thing called Daily Dose. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but very simple video recording platform that you can share across your company, things you want to get across in a more visual way than simply a text or a chat. So Sridhar, why don't you tell a couple of real world examples? I think you're going to share ones on approvals and kind of on a list one. So why don't you give a quick example of real world situations that companies had?
Yeah, I can just do a couple of them. One is like PTO request is pretty much a lot of companies wants to use. And we have a client that has a PTO because in the PTO and a lot of their employees are on site. So they're not on site. So to do everything. So they were doing it with paper and it becomes very cumbersome because they have to give it to their supervisor and the supervisor has to approve and then it has to go to the HR. So the whole process is cumbersome putting on a paper. So through Teams, what we have done is we created through approvals app and then customized it a little bit for their need, where they need to, in some instances, for a type of the PTO request, they need to upload a document or take a picture of it. So we created that and everything through Power Automate, and as a Power App in the Teams, they just click it and they fill out and it automatically sends that to the supervisor and supervisor approves and it goes into the HR and it's done. And it also sets up an out of office in their Outlook and also on their internet, showing on that day particular people are not are out of the office. So everything completely is automated. There's nobody touches anything and the reports are all generated to the HR at any given point of time. Nice.
That's a great time savings for everyone. And that, and also walking in and not knowing somebody's on PTO, it can be frustrating. I know. All right, why don't you share your other real world example of
onboarding.
Yes.
Yeah, so onboarding is one of the things that every company has, right? So the employee onboarding. So we have a company that has more than 50 steps in onboarding of their employees, which they're consulting. So they onboard many people in a month. So they're very, very fast growing. So they became like multiple systems and multiple steps. They're all over the place. So it takes a lot of time and effort for the new employee that's just starting, getting confused of all the different things. So again, we used Teams as the hub, and we used the Microsoft lists and Power Automate to automate the whole process from step 1 going to step 2. Everything is automated, and wherever is integrated to third party, we connect it to the third party. And we cut down the steps that the person has to do because we automated some of their processes that they have to do instead of them. The system automatically does that work for them. So the time is, we cut down the time, but also we can see the status of the onboarding very easily. They can see and they can immediately follow up. It also does follow-ups, automation, notifications, everything. So it's a huge time saver, but also it is a very convenient tool for the new employee and for the HR.
Excellent. A couple of questions. One came in on the safety incidents. So one of the things that I like is you can do a Power Automate, so not just the incident, like, hey, we got in a car wreck or we something fell or somebody got injured on the job, but really try to get to the root cause is the way we've really taken that to the next level. So the next level of that is kind of a 5 whys I learned kind of through the engineering world of, why did the person get injured on the job? What caused that to happen? Why? Oh, the person was running late or running overtime. Why was that happening? And keep on asking those whys. So as the leadership team comes together and reviews all their incident reports or safety reports, it's a much more detailed connection than versus, hey, Joe got injured at 2:00 on Tuesday. We're going to make sure do an automation to make sure it captures more information when it comes to a safety check. So good question on safety. Anyone else wants to put in any questions? We'll answer them throughout this. If anything triggered your mind, I'd love to see it. So go there. I'm going to move into the automations. This is all about Microsoft's term here, right? Work less, do more. Most of my clients, most of my other friends in the strategy planning and small business people are a little bit stressed. They're working a lot of hours. There's a little bit of burnout going on. It's hard to find great talent. By automating things, removing the manual, repetitive, joy removing items out of your world, it makes a big difference for employee morale, for hiring younger people who love tech. They're just used to it if you have kind of the old school tech. And these automations will just free up time. I love when you allow people to think. I think employees do the best work when they can think. And it's also for, doing processes. If you can eliminate one of the fun things I watch Sridhar do is, if a company has steps 1 through 10 processes, a process has 10 steps, they often say step 3 is broken, and they just want Sridhar to fix step 3. Well, yeah, but once he understands the whole process through technology, we can also often take it from step 7 and bring it all the way back to steps 2. And I'll use the example. I owned a Tesla for a lot of years, and in a Tesla, you don't have to hit the start button. Now, in the back, way back, people start keys in their car, right? Then they went to a start button. Then Tesla just eliminated the start button. Well, I recently actually switched out of my Tesla back to another car. And I have to hit the start button, and that process seems broken to me. Like, why do I have to start button? Once you start working with Sridhar, a lot of people are like, I don't have to do any of that anymore. It just goes from step 2 to step 7, and they just forget, and which it creates adoption. So we're not into training; we're into adoption. Training is I trained Sridhar. I showed him how to do it. I did my job. I'm a trainer. We're trying to get people to understand that we don't want trainers. We want adoption managers. Adoption managers make sure that Sridhar is actually using what we trained and making sure they're answering the questions to make sure it's being adopted. So as we get into automations, people always ask us, well, how hard is it to adopt? Some of them, like the start button, it doesn't take any time to adopt. You just hit gas and it goes. Others, you need an adoption manager to make sure that people are adopting. So you're not frustrated that you're spending this. Again, with low code, no code, this isn't a $50,000 custom automation. These are often 5 hours to 20-hour, very simple automations that you can get done with the low code, which is a huge benefit of low code, no code. So I'm gonna go through this quite fast. You're gonna see that there's multiple boxes, and that's what automations. You're connecting multiple apps together, both internal or external. So things like approval process for invoices to be paid often has to go. People are in the field, people are working at home. You can just automate your process. You can connect it to a lot of things. You don't have to have, this says Business Central, and a lot of these have a logo like that. But whether it's connecting to a QuickBooks or connecting to another third-party app, most have APIs with 365. So don't worry about what the name is you're seeing in the middle. Just most people want an approval process for invoices, approval process for contracts, including moving all the way to DocuSign. So, or now Microsoft, or if you use Adobe Sign, whatever it is, you can just automatically click it. So we worked with a client that they wanted to be able to take the quote, do the order right on an iPad, and then flip it to a DocuSign out instead of driving back and forth, printing paper, bringing it back out, signing it, scanning it, putting it back in. We just wanted an automation for contracts. Help desk ticketing process. Most small companies don't have a fresh desk, but there's actually a nice basic line of thing there that, hey, this is a help desk. So you can see how often it's happening, even with a 10-person company. If something's happening 3 or 4 times, you can 3 or 4 times in a week, it's probably worth fixing and automating on a help desk and putting it into maybe a frequently asked questions or a knowledge base and a wiki, which is easy to do. So you can attach with these things. A question just did pop up. Thank you for sharing the question. Is Zapier or Trade.io, how things are different? So Zapier's obviously got connections with that. Sridhar, you're more the expert on this, to connect things through a panel. A lot of things just have, they already have connections straight with Microsoft, right? With the 365, where you don't even have to use a Zapier. Is that correct, Sridhar?
Yeah, so a lot of them have APIs. You directly connect into the Teams, into Office 365 and use it.
Yep. So if you actually hit the 3 buttons on the bottom of your team and just pull up all the apps, all those already have direct link, so you don't have to actually have an in-between with a Zapier. So it's a nice feature. This one's interesting. You can do it beyond with tweets, but like if you want on a client side of life, like I had Google Alerts in the past, where, you know, if one of my key clients in the word bankruptcy or key clients in like grand opening, I got an alert. Well, you can actually put in notifications, like a client's tweeting something. If you have your top 20 clients, I often recommend you're paying attention, that it'll automatically go into a feed in Teams so people can see what that clients are broadcasting what's going on in their world often on social media. Also, if they're mentioning your name and some negative, you can actually add an AI sentiment tool. And if there's like a negative comment in a tweet or a Facebook post, you can actually get that to raise an importance and get you to check it out wherever you want to do that. So a lot of things you can do with notifications. This one I think is just super powerful. Sridhar is going to tell a little more story about this at the end of the automation sections, but we work with lots of project, like they're a construction firm doing projects. They're a PEO during setting up new clients. It takes a lot of folder structure, apartments, folder structure, and they want it always set up exactly the same. Jobs, always set up exactly the same. This folder structure, these channel structures, executive team that gets access to the contract folder or channel, but no one else does. Then there's different channels for everyone else. People get invited to the channel. Now, future, you can look and search. So you can make sure that the folder structure is set up properly. Somebody sends in an email, you want, sends an email to you when a survey is responded. Maybe they respond, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how likely you're going to recommend this company. It's a 2, they add a comment, you can get an email right away. So it can automate that system for you. Daily weather reports, funny one. I didn't think about it because I just have my one office here. Not that important in my world. I can usually get around. But for a lot of people, and I know some people on this webinar, the weather tomorrow and the next day matters. Whether you're a restaurant, you're a service industry, that you're going to be outside. And then it really matters if you're going to have multiple locations. So if you have, you know, offices here and offices across the country or different areas, and you know an ice storm is going to be rolling through the Central Plains in 3 days, you might want to move up some of your appointments if you have some slack. You know, get people so everyone's safe and you don't skip and bundle up your next week. So this one's been more fun and more popular than we thought. Is just everyone gets a alert based on locations of, like, if they have 3 locations, what's going on in those locations. Response submitted in forms, you can get an approval process starting. So if somebody submits a form for a request for a flight, a business travel, an expense, you can create a approval process to automatically kick off of the form. New team members, especially with remote work, we want to connect. You're going to see lots of automations that can be done to help build culture in remote situations. But we just want to make sure the bios are getting shared out. Think of this as your intranet. It's a great way to get people's bios sent out. New documents notification to a team. Hey, and somebody went and created a new document. You're part of the approval process. The alert comes, it automatically flows. This is a workflow process. Quite simple, very powerful. Event and trade show. Lots of my clients go to event and trade shows. There's 3 parts of events and trade shows. Pre-work to make sure that's where all the success is going to be done. During, you can have daily check-ins and event tracking and make sure you have everything. Worst thing to do is show up at a trade show and you're missing something. And then an after script of what are you doing to follow up with people. So you can create an event trade show tracker to make sure that those events or trade shows are going very, very smoothly. Icebreakers, fun. If you're a little bit larger company, this really matters, or remote company, you get to put in like a matrix of the things. So if you're into dogs and the Dave Matthews Band and fast cars and blank, you can put that in there. And then when new employees come on board, you're going to get matched up with some people that have similar likes like you do, and you can get to know them. So right away in that first week or 2, people are going to get to know 2 or 3 employees that have common things, and that'll help them connect and feel connected at the company. PTO request, we talked about that. That's what Sridhar did, and making it more automated. Onboarding and offboarding, right away people think of employees, but also think about vendors, also think about clients. What do you want to do for onboarding and offboarding apartments, just so it's done exactly the same way and it's all tracked. Equipment maintenance, if you have tons of equipment, you probably have a third party that'll do this for you. But if you have 10, 20, 30, important things, whether it's a truck or an expensive piece of equipment that needs a maintenance schedule, you don't want to buy a full third party. You can just have an equipment maintenance. It'll just trigger alerts for you of when things need to be done for your equipment. Safety check, we talked a lot about that, but you can go through. The nice thing about this in an automation world is the equipment in good shape, yes or no? No, all right, take photo of where you think it's damaged or broken, and then send photo to, and you can have a list of drop downs. So maybe you have a third party maintenance people that come in and fix your trucks. It'll just automatically alert them, and now your frontline person who's taken the photo, dropped the notes, can automatically send right to your third party maintenance person or your internal maintenance person to go fix it. You could also use this if in a simple way for small apartment buildings or something like that. You could do something going wrong. So a safety check. Employee evaluations are always challenging. You can set up a very simple flow to make sure these are done in advance. So 60 days before their annual, or if you want to do quarterly, which I'd recommend, there's somebody that's getting an alert and it's getting escalated up, and both parties are filling out their side of the evaluation. Everyone wants to know where they stand. Everyone wants to know what winning looks like. The daily dose videos, I recommend to all my clients to keep everyone alert across, especially field and remote, is the leadership team or the president does a quick 30-second video, super simple, of what's going on in the business, what wins and stuff like that. Then maybe it's sales and marketing on Tuesday, it's operations on Wednesday, it's finance or IT on Thursday, and it's HR fund committee on Friday. They're sending a little daily dose. So I recommend giving the job duty to an executive assistant or somebody in marketing, and their job is to make sure the boss has recorded this 30-second video by noon. There'll be automated alerts to record it, super simple, using Stream, and it'll automatically schedule and go out at 3 p.m. Every day, so everyone kind of knows where the company stands every single day of what's going on throughout the company, keeping people very alert. A great way to run a video daily huddle. Incident report, we talked about those. You can track all your incidents. Great tool to have track. You can really improve safety or execution by paying attention to what's going on in incidents, but lots of ways to automate this. This one is kind of dear to my heart, both internally, giving a generic gift to employees versus if you're having a conversation with an employee and like, oh, they really like bowling, and you put in, hey, something around a bowling gift, or they like movies and a movie gift. You can have this, like the leadership team can track for their employees. You can also do this for key clients, like they're into bourbon or they're into golf or they're into something else. What they're into. So if you're thinking about giving them a gift or doing a little giftology work, you have a tracking of what they want. It'll also help you make swag, right? You're putting your logo on something, put your logo on stuff that people actually want or they're into, will get you a better result when you give it out to them. Small companies, you can use social media schedules, social media ideas. It's always trouble to come up with tweets or Facebook posts. This is a nice way to track it and schedule it. It's not robust enough to do if you're doing one a day, you're not going to use this tool. You could do some automations. There's good third-party apps to do that. But if you're doing one a week that's going to go across people, this is an easy way to make sure it's happening every Wednesday. You're getting things tracked on the social media content scheduler. This one I really like, key client email capture into Teams, and you can add AI sentiment on this. So if I had 20 key clients and I put in their URL, so Joe's cellular store back in my day, and they were a key client, I would know if somebody in their company was their billing department to my billing department was having problems because there was negative sentiment. This is the third time you've sent a bad invoice. This is the third time you short shipped. Something negative was happening. I would get an alert that there's negative sentiment in an email. This is where the AI is starting to go. So you can be alerted of anything negative happening at a much lower level in the company. So as the account owner, know what's going on with sentiment. So you can create a flow based on sentiment, which is pretty cool. Great ideas tracker. Again, I do strategy planning a lot and sales strategy for people. Tons of great ideas get thrown out there. This is kind of more like you put out a great idea and then people can go in, everyone will get alerted that you want on the team, and people can vote thumbs up, thumbs down, add comments, add conclusions. So when we get to a quarterly meeting, then it's already been kind of vetted. Like the ones that have lots of thumbs up, lots of positive comments, have kind of moved up the totem pole of what wants to be done. So we want to make sure that the great idea tracker is a neat little way of paying attention to all the ideas that come forth, especially from visionaries. Again, if you have a limited number of assets, you need to manage them. If you have a ton of assets, you need a third party to do it. But if you have a limited number of key assets, you want to be able to check in and check out to people so you know where they're at. You can also obviously attach the maintenance program to them. You can find out, and people can go in and say, oh, I need to borrow a laptop with a projector, the truck, whatever it is. They can check it out to themselves and do a note to check out and have an asset manager automation so nothing's lost. I talked about the conference room, break room, daily inspection, just make sure your building's looking good every day. Sridhar, why don't you tell them how you solved a problem here with your log, your visitor's log?
Yeah, I mean, so we have a visitor log. We don't have any receptionist, so people just walk in, and there is a small laptop there. So people put in their information, and whoever they select that they're visiting, they will automatically get a notification that a visitor is waiting in the lobby, and they can print and have a badge, and whoever is they're visiting, they'll just go and get them from the lobby. So it eliminated us having a receptionist for us.
Awesome.
And also it's good for the audit. It's a very good for audit and follow through. Whoever visited, you can follow ups, and then it's also good for auditing the client.
Yep, it's a great tool for that. You can automatically do follow up on messages. So you can, if there's a message that looks like it's followed up, it'll actually be created to do for you, which is nice. Again, created to do, I could say at Sridhar, and it'll create it to do for him to follow up if I want to do that. Again, a good way to track how progress is getting done. Recruitment tracker, if you're recruiting 2 to 10 people a month, this works really well just to recruit them, make sure they go through the process, switch them over to the onboarding. And then what happened if you're doing hundreds a month, use a different system. Why don't you share a couple real world examples of automations you did that really helped clients, Sridhar?
Sorry, sure. I mean, a couple of things I want to share. One is as service companies, we get a lot of clients, and we always want to have a similar fashion of how we want to create the client folders, their teams, their channels, and the templates. So what we have done for many clients is once they get a new customer, they just put in the information, the basic information they need. It starts off, and then it automates the whole thing and creates the team. It creates the channels. It creates the folder structure, and it puts the templates that's needed for that particular client. Everything is automatically done. Nobody has to touch. Then suddenly they see a team. It has all the people that needs to be part of that. In that way, the whole company, every project is very, very consistent. So people know where to look for. If they want to talk to somebody, they know exactly where to go. If they want to find a file or find something, they know exactly where things are, how they look. So it makes it very easy, not only for the employees, but also making a new employee onboarding makes it very easy for them because it's very, very consistent. So we use things like Microsoft List, Power Automate, and then create all the channels, and everything is through Teams. That's one. And another one we did is COACH.WIN, which is actually for John, which is where as they get their clients, they have to manage all the tasks and the different frequencies, sending emails, follow-ups, and everything. So instead of putting all of them at different places, so we use the Power Apps and Power Automate and Microsoft List. And so it automatically connects to their Outlook, and it uses Planner to plan every task and put them in the right place. And then it sends the notifications, and it automates everything, and everything is done through the team. So it makes it very, very easy for coaches to manage their clients.
Yeah, it's been a powerful tool to get some of those automations running. It frees up time if coaches have 10 clients and they're having to do 5 to 6 emails and surveys and follow-ups, whether it's the executive assistant or themselves. It can free up 5 to 10 hours per client per quarter. And if you're meeting more than that, even more time than that, I'm giving a consistent execution. It allows me to have 1 or 2 more facilitation days a quarter, which adds up to a lot of money by having this automation. But I have the confidence it's being done right in a very consistent way. The other thing for me is it wasn't always consistent. Now it's going to be a very consistent way of communicating for every quarterly planning session that I'm doing. Any questions or answers? Any questions? I'd give the answers on that. One person did ask, put in the chat, something more about how do you take that onboarding in property management to the next level. Again, you can actually put in an onboarding for like property management, but think about this for any kind of projects where you can actually push it out to the client as well. So they can fill out a form on your website or in an email. It'll automatically flow to that inspection. So your maintenance department will get it and just send it back out. So some pretty cool stuff that can be done when it comes to anything with inspections and automation, all the way to a client or even back to a vendor. So pay attention to that. The last things is things you should start using today. Microsoft Loop is in chat. It's just right at the bottom of every chat you're in. There's a little icon that looks like this. We're chatting, Sridhar, like, hey, we got to put together a list. We got to do stuff. We can pop up a list, an Excel, whatever, and then we can forward that off to other departments. So go and just hit that Loop button and you will start using it all the time. Viva Learning in chat at the bottom of your chat. Again, there's a little Viva Learning logo. There's a ton of free stuff in there. Start using it. And this is what's neat about it. You can actually make this part of all your direct reports or, your learning schedule. So you could assign, you have a new person in accounting, you want them to learn Excel. Since Microsoft owns all of this and Microsoft owns LinkedIn, you can actually have people, you can send them and schedule them learnings in Viva Learning. There's also a bunch of paid learning in there, but you can actually schedule people learnings like, hey, look, watch these next 3 Excel videos, give me feedback on what are the 2 things that you're going to start using in Excel. There's marketing, how to do cold calling, how to do using LinkedIn to find better prospects. There's just a whole bunch of free learning that Microsoft is giving you throughout the Viva Learning in chat. Powerful, powerful tool. I didn't know about this, but it's also very simple to hit the little 3 button thing while you're in a chat because you want to save it for later. Just click on it and hit save for later, and then you can go back and view your saved messages at the end of the day and make sure you've captured them all. Sometimes you want to leave them unread. You don't have to do that. You can just save them and then just view your messages. Praise. People like to have praise. They want to know it's praise. You want to start doing this. You can actually monitor which managers are praising people too. Like, hey, thanks for the great idea. You can create your own little logos. I've seen clients do that. So they have, based on their core values, they have different types of praise. Very simple way to automate and thank people for doing a good job. People need to get pats on the back. When we're remote, it's even harder. So start using the praise thing today. I don't like to type. Lots of salespeople don't like to type. We're not very good at it. We can speak better. So using dictation in all apps, and then I'll show you the editor tool. But PowerPoint, OneNote, Word, I'm not sure about Excel, but they all have the dictation button. So you can say, hey, here's how I want to respond to that client. Here's how I want to get a note. Just hit the dictation button, record it, make sure you go back and edit it. Every team has an email address. So make sure you capture that. So you set up a team, every channel has an email address. As you set it up, make sure you, so I'm sending Sridhar Nimesh's with 3 attachments. I can just go pick the channel that it's in, grab the email, and send it to it. Or a client sent me a email with a bunch of attachments and some to-dos. I can forward it to the team through the channel, and everyone that's in that channel will get alerted of what just showed up in the channel in a post. So every team has an email address, so that's where all communications about that client or that vendor or that project are all in that location. So I use this every single day, multiple times a day. You can auto record and transcribe meetings. This makes it very easy to search. So people don't have to, if you record a 1-hour meeting, they don't have to search all the way through it. They can just, I mean, they don't have to like watch the whole 1 hour video. If they miss the weekly meeting, they can just go to the section that they need to go by searching their name or something like that. Microsoft Editor has gotten very powerful. Again, not everyone's great at skill at writing. You can put things in Editor online, Microsoft, and not only will it do grammar and spelling, but it'll do conciseness. You can actually make it choose casual writing, formal writing, or professional writing. It'll give you suggestions of how to change your writing. It'll also make sure you're not plagiarizing anything. For instance, if you're copying and pasting, you're not quoting it properly, it'll go search the World Wide Web for a similar sentence or paragraph and say, hey, just let you know, we found this out there. You might want to quote it. A little bit different way of using Editor to make all your communications leaving your company. Some people have even put in ground rules like, hey, make sure it's a 90% plus before you send. And now you know better communications leaving your building. Using chats for one-on-ones. People always ask how to do one-on-ones. I have some templates. If you're interested, send me that and I'll send you the template, or else you can see them on my YouTube channel at My B2B Coach. But just create a chat, pin it, Sridhar, we're going to bi-weekly one-on-ones. We can create a reminder and have a 15-minute where's everyone stand, and we can easily follow. What I like about this, whether you're doing quarterly or annual reviews, instead of just thinking, what have they done for me lately, last 30, 60 days, you can actually go back and look at the last 26 chats and see what progress has been made on their scoreboard or their scorecard, what discussions we've had and have they improved, what learnings have they done. You can actually go through it all, and it's really easy. So I see most people just moving to using chat for doing one-on-ones, and they're more meaningful one-on-ones too. And both team members can collaborate. You can also click on your button and just say, hey, I'm out of office for this hour, busy. You can set a duration. I'm out of office for 90 minutes. And that way people know that they don't expect a response. Just if you click on your name, you can just drop down the status. And then finally, some cool things that are coming soon. And then we'll wrap up and take other questions. Viva Engage, think of this as like your own internal Facebook. Again, remote. You can have great channels on here where people can communicate and engage. So you can have some people have a dog channel, somebody who have a recommended restaurants, best happy hour. You could have other, you're a Creighton Blue Jays or a Husker fan here in Omaha, Nebraska. You can have that channel, or maybe one that has both of them in there so people can go back and forth about the upcoming basketball game. It creates connections inside your company by turning on Viva Engage. So that'll be coming out soon to have different channels. So think of it as like Facebook and Facebook groups for your own company. The nice thing is, as soon as you bring somebody on board, they're automatically added into the groups and they kind of see what's going on. As soon as you offboard someone, it's gone. We run into a lot of companies that are using Facebook groups or WhatsApp outside of their control. And that's not probably something you want to have done. You want to give people a place to go, but you have control of who's in and who's out of your group. So that's where Viva Engage comes in. Viva Sales is coming soon. Go watch the video if you use a CRM. This ties it all together and supercharges your CRM. So if you're using a common CRM tool, it'll hook into Microsoft, it'll hook into Teams. And now, of course, they're also hooked into LinkedIn because Microsoft owns them. This just brings it all into one place and supercharges and eliminates a lot of data entry when it comes to CRM work. So coming soon, you can go watch the video online. This is, as somebody said, potentially a Slack, more of a Slack killer. This is now you can actually record a quick video and chat. This is coming out now too. So you can record a quick video and send it. So again, if somebody missed something and say, hey, Sridhar, here, watch this video, see what I'm doing to this file here, example, and you can just send that in a quick chat versus before you couldn't, you'd have to go to Stream to do that. So now we can actually have a video chat when it comes to there. So that's a nice feature coming soon. The final thing I'd love you to do, if there's any one takeaway that you have, put it in the chat. The one thing you're like, I'm going to start using that today. I always like to look for feedback. If you could put that from chat. Sridhar and I are available anytime for email. There's our email addresses. You can get a hold of us. You'll have our emails one way or another, but we can get back to you. But I appreciate you guys all joining the webinar. I hope you like the webinar. We will be, some questions came in about links to the webinar. We're going to break it down into the 3 sections so it's easier to go, and then we'll have the webinar for you so you can easily share it with your team. We'd love you to share it. Again, you can also go look at our one from inflation, and you can look at our future one coming up. You'll be invited to it since you attended this one, to our one on aligning compensation throughout companies, which is big for a lot of small and medium-sized businesses to keep talent around. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate everything. I'm going to give you a few minutes back, which is always a good thing to under promise and hopefully over deliver some information. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sridhar, for being a part of this webinar.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.